Hi guys, welcome back to New Dram Drinker. We are back in the whiskey corner, as I've now named it. Beautifully styled. Got rid of a few things off the bar as well to free up some space. So today we are going to be delving into another little whiskey. Me and you, just a nice little chat. Watch this cinematic and then we'll get started. So I'm already smiling in anticipation of pronouncing Mackmyra Jaktlycka. I apologise to Swedes out there if I've got that wrong, but I think that's how you say it. We've only got a small bottle because we were sent a sample. You can't buy it yet in England, although you might be able to by the time the video comes out. So Mackmyra kindly sent us a sample to have a little taste of it. Classic looking colours for the seasonal range. If you've seen any of the others, they release 2 a year as something in addition to their core range, and we'll put some pictures up so you can see what some of the other bottles look like. I think it would look nice. I'm assuming the full size bottle will have the same colours. It'll look nice next to some of the other ones. So typically Mackmyra. So check out that colour, really nice, deep golden, rich looking colour. Sometimes when things have been matured in casks, I always quite expect a bit of colour. It's nice, so that's given me high hopes for it. Can't wait to nose it. Let's move on. So let's nose this. The first smell I get, it's that real initial, I get a lovely little sweetness. When I nosed this earlier, I thought icing sugar, that was like the first little hint, but now I'm thinking it's more like royal icing and marzipan. You know, the thick white icing you get on the top of a cake? That's what I'm thinking it's like. But it's not, it doesn't nose a sweet whiskey, if that makes sense. That was the first initial sort of flavour I got. There's definitely a berry nose there. It's not sweet like strawberries or raspberries. I don't actually know what a lingonberry tastes or nose is like, but I'm going to guess it's quite a foresty berry, so it's not going to be quite sweet, and that's what I'm getting. I'm getting berries, but they're not sweet. So I'm thinking more like blackberries or blueberries or cranberries, you know, that kind of, not the sweet summery fruity ones, more like, maybe they're autumn berries, I don't know, maybe you harvest them in autumn. It smells like a really nice warm whiskey. I definitely can get some wood, like the oak. And I did wonder, I think I got a little bit of smoke, like a fleeting little bit, but actually now I'm thinking it might be more the wood. There's a little hint of spice as well there. So it's making me think of all those autumnal sort of florals and notes and things. I don't know if that's the power of suggestion, but that's exactly what I'm getting. You know, like how Grunty was light and fresh and spring and summery like. This feels more like the Wintersol, you know, like a deeper, spicier, richer. Yeah. that initial sweetness has kind of gone now. You know, I said right at the beginning I got the icing. It's definitely wood, berries, maybe a touch of smoke. Can't quite figure that out. And a tiny hint of spice. Fun fact, when Ant knows this, he got olives. I'm not getting olives, but he did. You know those huge meaty ones you get, like in the brine? That's what he got. Oh, I didn't get that. Yeah, it smells really pleasant, like a... It's making me think autumn already, like harvest, those kind of things. And the colour kind of fits, doesn't it, with the leaves and stuff. So, yeah, very pleasant nose. Let's move on to tasting it. I'm going in. Oh, initially, the mouthfeel of that is so creamy. You know, that lovely oily flavour. And I'm getting more of those wood notes. It definitely tastes like maybe charred, or you know when you get like a bonfire and it's the ash. So it's more, it's not like the smoke that I thought I got on the nose. It's more like a oak charring maybe, or the fire, that kind of thing. But such a thick and creamy whiskey. It tastes quite rich actually, but 46.1, just looking at my notes, 46.1%. It does, there's nothing harsh about drinking this. It definitely feels hefty and quite heavy, like a heavy whiskey, but really nice. There's something really lovely and elegant about this whiskey. Really liking this one. To me, there's some bourbon notes there. You know, the caramel, but like the burnt caramel, not like thick, sweet caramel, the sauce that you put on an ice cream. You know, those like toffee sort of vanilla flavours. They're really there, really, really nice. And there is that hint of spice again. It's almost like peppery on my tongue. There's a little tingle, tiny little tingle. And the spices are quite nice. I don't know what kind of spices they are. They're not necessarily like cinnamon. Maybe a bit heavier. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like a clove or a star anise. But not very powerful, but it's definitely spicy. I can get that. And I'm getting some of those berry notes come back through again now. Really subtle though. It's almost like, I suppose you would say this was a beautifully balanced whiskey. Nothing is fighting for dominance here. You know, I can definitely taste the wood, and I can definitely taste some of those fruity notes and the sweetness. You know, those and the spices, but it's all just kind of flowing in. Balanced, I suppose, is what you would say. Let's have a look at my notes, see if I've missed anything else. Oh, when I did this before, I got the icing again, like the marzipan or the royal icing at the top of a cake. Maybe I can get it. I'm kind of hunting for it. I'm not sure. It was clearly there before, and I definitely got it on the nose. It's not an overly sweet whiskey, but it's not an overly bitter whiskey either. It's not smoky whiskey either. It's almost like it's got all of those rich sort of... They do taste like forest sort of flavours, and it does, the name of Jaktlycka does mean happy hunting. So it is kind of making me think of all those forest, harvest, autumnal colours and spices and flavours. You know, when they're all kind of in the mixing pot together. There's definitely not one that's overpowering. There's not one that's standing out for me, but they're all there. It is really nice and balanced. It's making me feel like, you know, the flavours are nice and slow. That's what I think is making me think it's like an elegant whiskey. It's quite heavy and thick, not ABV heavy. Just, there's an awful lot going on. It doesn't taste like the usual sort of Mackmyras that I've had before. Maybe I'm thinking of Granty and things, which felt fresher and lighter. But yeah, really nice. On to the finish. So after all the wood and the spices and the berries and those nice little marzipan icing notes have faded, there is definitely a peppery tingle there just on my tongue. It's not harsh and it's not huge like everything else in this whiskey, just kind of seems to flow. It's like balanced. I think as well the finish is quite drying, which again makes me think of like the oak, you know, the casks. I always get that little drying texture, and it is like a char. I'm thinking there is a char. It's not a hugely long finish, very warm. I'm wondering if I get a bit of licorice actually. Might be a little bit of licorice. I did say star anise on the palate, didn't I? It's kind of like an aniseedy maybe, licorice, I don't know. So yeah, very pleasant, not very long, warming, spicy, some of those peppery notes. So yeah, it's okay. So now it's time to award this little baby. Okay, so I've thought long and hard about what award to give this whiskey. You know, there's so many different flavours I've talked about, so many thoughts made me think of forests and harvests and, you know, happy hunting and all of those things. That there's so many different things I could call it, but the thing that stood out for me is, first of all, I've got whiskey left in my glass, which never happens. I feel like this has made me really slow down and it's made me really want to sip this. You know, one of those whiskies that you just enjoy at the end of an evening. It's not a light and airy, breezy summer drink. This makes me think of sitting in front of the fire with my socks on, you know, the big thick jumper on, you know, at the end of autumn going into winter, you know, on a cold night. But there's something so beautiful about all of those flavours that are together. It's just making me thoroughly enjoy this in a very nice, slow way. So I'm going to call this a classy nightcap, because I think the whiskey is very elegant, it's very classy, and it's the kind of whiskey I would enjoy at the end of an evening. So I hope you liked that little review. It was a pleasure to drink this one. It was really nice, quite different from the Mackmyras I've tried before, so that was a good one. If you enjoyed this video, maybe consider subscribing, maybe pop some comments down below if you buy a bottle. Let me know what you think of it all. So thank you very much. I have got whiskey left. I can say, don't forget, pour it, drink it, enjoy it. Elegant, well put together whiskey. So I'm going to call this, can't remember what I was going to call it.
You just forgot.